What if I told you Roman games stripped women, chained them, and killed them for fun? Ancient records from 80 CE list over 5,000 deaths during opening games. While families cheered, emperors kept escalating cruelty. Today we expose how Roman gladiators treated female prisoners as disposable objects and why many begged for death before the sand. Let's find out. Imagine a world where your safety depends on nothing but luck, where a knock on your door at dawn could mean the end of everything you know. Roman soldiers sweep through conquered towns fast, always looking for people to take. But they're extra focused on women, especially young ones, the pretty ones, or anyone who stands out. To the Romans, these women are prizes. They're trophies, and in some cases, future entertainment. Why? Because women aren't just seen as prisoners, they're property. Historians say, after a single Roman victory, soldiers could capture thousands in a day. The numbers are hard to believe, but records from the Siege of Jerusalem in 70 CE say over 97,000 people were taken, and at least 20,000 of them were women and girls. In Gaul, Julius Caesar's men grab whole villages, splitting families forever. Survivors end up shackled in chains, marched for miles with no food, knowing what's next will be even worse. Some soldiers gamble or fight each other just to claim the best female prisoners. There's a rumor, maybe true, maybe not, that bets are placed before battles about who will get the most beautiful girls. Sex slaves, showgirls, or public humiliation, all possible fates. Ancient coins sometimes even show chained women, their heads down, reminding everyone that spoils of war means real people. Roman generals don't hide any of this. Tacitus, the famous Roman historian, writes that women are often the main prize in these hunts. He describes scenes where Roman troops drag women out by their hair, laughing while their husbands cry. Archaeologists have found shackles sized for women and children, proof that these captures happened often, not just in wild stories. But this is just the beginning. The hunt might sound like the lowest point, but for many captured women, the nightmare gets much darker when they finally reach the city gates of Rome. The true horror starts when they're forced to step into the spotlight, stripped of everything, literally and emotionally, for an audience that doesn't want a happy ending. Next, the arena itself waits, ready for a show no one ever forgets. If you're enjoying this story, give us hype for this video right now. Hit that subscribe button and drop a like so this series reaches every explorer out there. The next twist in this story is seconds away, and trust me, you'll want to be here when it drops. The city buzzes, but inside the stone tunnels, every breath feels stolen. Some women step from the darkness into blinding sun, trembling, their clothes ripped away, eyes burning from dust and shame. The Colosseum, a monster of marble and blood, holds 50,000 Romans screaming for something new. Their hunger for shock overpowers pity. Every seat is packed, emperors, merchants, slaves, children, waiting for the gates to open. The emperor sits high above, thumbing down at strangers like a god choosing thunder or sunshine. Sometimes officials pick the youngest or prettiest woman to start the show, betting on how long she'll last. Stripped of dignity, many women shake as they walk across the sand, their skin prickling from 1,000 eyes. Roman satirist Juvenal writes of naked girls on display, thrown to wild laughter and even wilder animals. No place exists to hide. Guards force women forward with whips and sticks, some so rough that ancient doctors record broken noses and arms before the games even begin. These women become the first act, warm-up entertainment not even meant to survive. One rare account tells of a German girl who fainted from fear, her body dragged across the ground as crowds booed her weakness. Sometimes Roman organizers stage fake weddings, binding a prisoner to a condemned man in the arena, then sending wild animals to interrupt the ceremony. In 203 CE, records describe a famous show where Christian women, Perpetua and Felicitas, are stripped and forced to face wild cows. Eyewitnesses say the crowd cheers louder when Perpetua's dress rips completely away. Yet the crowd always wants more. Applause grows with every humiliation. The emperor knows the audience stays loyal to him through spectacle and cruelty. But while most look away after the bodies are removed, those forced to survive the arena carry scars inside and out. In a cruel twist, some are spared for even darker shows, where new forms of torment await. Now, as the crowds shout for the next act, organizers prepare the ultimate nightmare, turning women into unwilling fighters against wild beasts with nothing but bare hands and terror. Every eye turns to the iron gates at the edge of the sand. The floor shakes as lions, leopards, or bears roar and snap against their chains. Imagine standing barefoot, with no weapon, in front of a starving animal chosen for its hunger and rage. The Romans call this damnatio ad bestias, condemnation to beasts, a sentence handed down for thousands, but especially for women prisoners with dangerous reputations. Emperor Augustus threw over 3,500 people, men, women, even children, to wild animals in 1 year alone, according to the historian Suetonius. Scholars estimate that by the peak of the empire, up to 10,000 animals and countless humans die in a single set of games. But the most shocking scenes always feature women. Organizers know the crowd will remember a helpless girl facing a panther more than any sword fight. Roman playwright Seneca describes a festival where young girls, bound in chains, try to outrun wild dogs. They beg for death before the animals can reach them, he writes. Another record describes a group of Jewish women in 66 CE who are forced to fight wild boars in front of jeering soldiers. Most die within seconds. Those who run are torn apart slowly, their screams echoing off marble. Sometimes prisoners are given fake weapons, wooden swords, blunted spears, to even the odds, but everyone knows it's just a joke. A single Roman fresco found in Pompeii shows a girl, hands raised, cornered by a huge lion as the crowd laughs and throws coins. Archaeologists have found scratches and gouges in the Colosseum floor, matching ancient descriptions of desperate women trying to dig their way to safety. Organizers rarely clean the arena before the next show, leaving blood and body parts behind as a warning to new prisoners. A woman who survives the animals isn't celebrated. She's often marked as untouchable, her skin bearing scars that set her apart forever. But for the most popular female captives, the nightmare doesn't end with the animals. Some are saved for shows so twisted they barely seem real, where Roman lust, not death, is the main attraction. Now the line between theater and torture fades. Rome loves to shock, but these shows take cruelty to another level. Women prisoners become props in brutal sex spectacles, public displays meant to shock and thrill. The Romans call these ludi meridiani, midday games where anything goes. Sometimes organizers stage reenactments of Greek or Roman myths with real victims. Women play goddesses or nymphs and are tied to fake trees, their roles twisted for laughs. In the myth of Pasiphae, a woman is forced to mate with a bull. Suetonius claims this scene delighted the crowd and disgusted the wise. While the bull is usually restrained, the sexual humiliation is real, and survivors bear lifelong trauma. A few Roman authors record scenes where prisoners are tied to stakes and groped or assaulted by actors or forced to mimic sexual acts for a laughing crowd. Martial, a Roman poet, jokes about naked girls on the sand, showing what Rome calls entertainment. To the crowd, these aren't people, they're objects for public pleasure. Real numbers are lost to history, but some scholars estimate that hundreds of women are forced into these shows every festival season. Emperor Caligula, infamous for cruelty, is said to choose female captives for his private performances. No laws protect these women. Even noble women sometimes end up in the arena if they anger the wrong people. St. Augustine later writes that Rome consumed virgins in its games, and that no house, no rank, no safety existed when Rome wanted a show. For most, shame is followed by something even worse: public rape, torture, and a slow, humiliating death while the crowd cheers. Yet, even at this darkest moment, the Roman appetite for violence finds new ways to shock. From these sex shows, many women are forced straight into the next round of public humiliation, now in front of the entire city. Roman crowds push toward the edge of the arena, hoping for a closer look. Women prisoners are paraded around, hands tied or arms twisted behind their backs. Some are naked, some wear scraps of cloth, but every eye is on their pain. These women aren't just being punished, they're trophies, proof that Rome dominates all. Public rape is sometimes staged as part of the games. The Roman historian Cassius Dio writes about deflowering in the arena, where girls are stripped, pinned down, and assaulted by criminals or animals. In one shocking case from the reign of Commodus, prisoners are raped in front of their families. The crowd cheers, seeing this as a sign of Rome's power. The Roman poet Ovid writes, "They treat shame as spectacle, pain as sport." Ancient graffiti found near the Colosseum even brags about watching the red-haired girl take her last walk. It's hard to say how many women suffered this fate, but during the triumph of Titus, more than 700 Jewish women were paraded in chains, many sold to brothels after the games. Some prisoners are forced to carry signs with their crimes, things like refusing a Roman husband or practicing a forbidden religion. Others are branded with hot irons, a mark they carry for life. For the crowd, these acts are proof of Rome's victory, a chance to feel strong at someone else's expense. The most beautiful women are sometimes won by powerful men in the audience, taken straight from the arena to private parties. But the rest meet a different end, slaughtered in staged battles, forced to fight each other, or men with no hope of survival. Yet, even the most brutal public tortures can't keep the audience interested forever. Roman organizers must always invent new ways to keep the city's eyes on the sand. Imagine the roar of the crowd when a group of untrained women, barefoot, bruised, terrified, are shoved onto the bloody sand, handed fake shields, and told to fight for your life. But the crowd doesn't want skill, they want chaos and screams. Sometimes organizers dress the women in silly costumes, Amazon outfits, animal skins, or even men's armor, much too big for their bodies. The Roman satirist Juvenal mocks these shows, saying, "The arena turns women into clowns before corpses." For the crowd, the comedy comes first. Death is the punchline. These battles rarely last long. Roman guards pick out the weakest or slowest woman first, dragging her down for laughs. Other prisoners are made to chase each other, their hands tied together, while the crowd places bets on who will last the longest. According to some records, the winners are offered poisoned wine or a quick death as a reward. Sometimes women are pitted against men, gladiators paid to teach them a lesson. The Roman writer Martial describes a battle where women prisoners are forced to fight each other with clubs, while the crowd throws rotten food at the loser. A rare survivor, Berenice of Syria, is said to win 3 matches, but the audience demands her death anyway. No act of bravery is enough. Archaeologists have found women's bones with sword marks and crushed skulls in mass graves near the Colosseum, confirming the scale of these games. One study finds that nearly 20% of Colosseum combatants were women in certain festivals, most of them prisoners or slaves. The show always ends with bodies dragged out, blood staining the sand. But some women aren't killed. Organizers have something even worse in mind for the afternoon's finale. Afternoon sun turns the arena into an oven, but nobody leaves their seat. It's time for the most savage act. Women prisoners tied to posts or thrown into pits, with wild animals released in front of everyone. Roman records call this bestiary, or venatio, meaning beast hunts. Some days, organizers starve the animals for a week beforehand, just to make the killings more dramatic. Lions, panthers, even packs of wild dogs are let loose. Historian Dio Chrysostom claims that on the emperor's birthday, 300 women are killed by animals in a single afternoon. Sometimes, mothers clutch their children, trying to shield them as hyenas or bears attack. No weapons, no hope. A few women manage to climb the posts or run circles around the animals, but escape is impossible. The crowd bets on how long each woman will last. Seneca describes the audience cheering as 1, then 2, then 20 girls are shredded for sport. Organizers sometimes decorate the arena with painted props, fake forests, rivers, or even statues to make the killings feel like a play. In a few cases, criminals dress as Roman gods and judge the women before the animals attack, adding humiliation to horror. Bones found in the Colosseum drains show bite marks from lions and tigers, many matching female skeletons. These aren't rare events. They're weekly entertainment, with numbers that would fill small cities today. After the killing ends, the sand is raked and the crowd calls for more. But there's nowhere left for these women to hide. No escape even for those too young or pregnant to fight. The Romans draw no line between adult and child, between guilty and innocent. Pregnant women, girls as young as 12, even infants, everyone is fair game. If you think someone will show mercy, the Colosseum proves otherwise. Ancient authors write of Periet Puellae, boys and girls thrown into the ring together. The philosopher Seneca writes, "The cries of children mingle with the roars of animals, but the crowd grows louder still." Some prisoners give birth in the arena, their newborns taken and killed before their eyes. In the games after the fall of Carthage, over 2,000 women and children are marched through Rome, then executed in public. The Emperor Nero once orders an entire family, mother, father, children, to be torn apart by wild dogs because they practiced a forbidden religion. Roman law treats children as property, so anyone captured can be sold, killed, or abused on a whim. Roman mosaics sometimes show child fighters, tiny figures with oversized helmets, a cruel joke for rich spectators. Excavations near gladiator schools have uncovered small bones, including children as young as 5, confirming that these stories are true, not just legend. The few who survive are often taken from their mothers and sold into slavery or prostitution. Some end up in the brothels beneath the Colosseum itself, an industry that runs non-stop, fed by the pain of conquered people. With every new show, the message is clear: nobody is safe. Survival rarely means freedom. For some, it's just the start of an even harsher life. For a handful of women, living through the arena means a new nightmare. The Romans treat survivors as merchandise, auctioned off to the highest bidder. Wealthy men brag about owning a gladiatrix, a female fighter, even if she's broken in body and mind. The historian Tacitus describes slave markets set up after every major festival. Women are paraded in front of buyers, their scars and bruises used as selling points. Strong enough for work, wild enough for play, one auctioneer jokes, recorded in graffiti near Rome's biggest slave market. Many are sold into brothels, where survival in the arena becomes a curse. Roman law allows owners to brand, mutilate, or kill their slaves without punishment. The few with connections, family, powerful friends, might be ransomed, but most vanish into the city's dark corners. Some are forced to perform their arena battles for paying customers, reliving their trauma night after night. Occasionally, rich Romans keep female survivors as living decorations at parties, showing off their trophy girls to jealous rivals. The poet Martial mocks a senator who hosts dinners with 3 wounded Amazons, each with one eye and a broken tooth. For most women, life after the arena means endless abuse, work with no rest, and no way out. Rare stories tell of women who escape or find new lives, but these are exceptions. Most disappear from history, their names lost. Even in death, their suffering keeps Rome entertained. Organizers use their stories to promote new games, promising even more excitement next time. But why does Rome demand so much suffering? What twisted force drives an empire to turn women's pain into profit and pride? Roman society runs on violence. Every citizen expects it. Every emperor profits from it. The Colosseum becomes the beating heart of a city that loves power more than compassion. Female prisoners, once invisible, now become central to the biggest spectacles. Emperors know how to win loyalty, give people blood, and nobody complains about taxes or war. Each year, the number of games grows. Augustus holds 26 major festivals in a single year, each lasting days. The Roman historian Livy says that by the empire's height, the only limit to the games is the patience of the crowd. Records show that in the year 80 CE, more than 5,000 women were killed in the games after the opening of the Colosseum. Some Romans see cruelty for what it is. Philosopher Seneca warns, "Habit makes us monsters." Early Christians condemn the games as pure evil, risking their lives to speak out. Yet, for centuries, nothing changes. The crowd always wants more, and emperors compete to invent new horrors. Roman coins, graffiti, and mosaics celebrate women prisoners. Their suffering becomes a symbol of Rome's strength. Organizers sell souvenirs, paintings, even small statues of their favorite victims. For the elite, attending the games is a sign of status. For the poor, it's the only way to feel powerful. In the end, the obsession grows until the empire itself crumbles. By the time the Colosseum falls silent, millions have suffered, none more than the women dragged from far-off lands and fed to the crowd's endless appetite. Their stories, brutal and raw, reveal the true cost of Rome's glory, a price paid in terror, shame, and lives cut short for the world's first reality show. And while Rome fades into ruins, the scars of these women echo through history, warnings carved in bone and stone, waiting for someone to finally see and remember them. Another hidden story ends here, but Rome holds more darkness ahead. Stay curious, follow the trail, and click the next video now, because the next truth cuts even deeper inside.